This morning, American families seeing sticker shock as they shop this back-to-school season. Import taxes have inflated the costs by as much as 20% on everything from backpacks to clothing. Statistics show that the overwhelming majority of shoes and clothing in particular sold in the United States is imported, and U.S.-made goods might also be causing trouble. The National Taxpayers Union out with a new study, and here to shed some light on the impact to our wallets is the NTU's Brandon Arnold. Brandon, good morning to you. And I just want you to share more about this study because it's quite informative. We are talking about a significant increase in the most basic of items here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Americans have been clobbered by inflation, as we all know, for the past several years. The last thing they need is things to get more expensive. So what we've seen is working families who are sending their kids back to school. And I put my kids on the bus for the first time just a couple days ago, earlier this week. But these families have already been struggling with higher housing costs, food costs, energy costs. And now here we are with back to school costs, which are going to hit nearly $40 billion this year. That's more than $870 per household. They're going to see those costs go up even further because we've allowed programs to expire that have helped to hold the price of some of these back to school supplies, whether that's clothing, pencils, backpacks, that have helped hold those prices relatively low. Those prices are skyrocketing, and unfortunately, that's taking a really heavy toll on American families right now.
Sure, and we have a chart to show folks, you know, backpacks up as much as 20%, notebooks 8%, colored pencils up, socks, shoes, T-shirts, jeans, you name it. You know, I'm seeing a range of anywhere from 6% to 20%. I mean, that's quite a bit. So give us some more context on this. You know, why is this happening? When it went into effect some years ago, was it understood this would happen, or was this an unintended consequence? What's happening here?
This is a product of dysfunction in Washington. You know, we talk a lot about China when we talk about trade. This is less about China. It's more about programs that we have in place or have traditionally had in place with developing nations. We've helped work with developing nations, lift them out of poverty while helping our consumers at the same time. It's a win-win system. It is not undermining our national security. It's not hurting workers. Quite the contrary. It's helping our country. But because Washington has become so dysfunctional and so partisan, we've allowed this program to expire. That's really hurt our small businesses. And most notably, it's hurt our families, especially at times like now when we're spending far more than we ought to send our kids back to school.
Well, Brandon, a lot of people would say, okay, I'll just avoid the made in China products and I'll buy only products made in the U.S. To what extent does that help you?
Well, that can help our workers. That can help, you know, a lot of our businesses here in the United States. But it's a lot more complicated than that because a lot of times products that are made here in America are made using raw materials or intermediate goods that are imported from other countries. And when we're importing things from friendly countries, we're also opening the door for our ranchers, for our farmers to export products. We have more than 10 million jobs in this country that are supported by exports. So when they start throwing up retaliatory tariffs, when they start punishing our farmers, our ranchers, guess what? That really hurts the heartland here. It really hurts American workers and people that are scraping by in a really difficult economy.
And just about 30 seconds left here, but you look at the two major candidates, Harris and Trump. We know that their approaches differ on the issue. What policy would you personally need or want to see to feel confident that we can bring those prices down?
Yeah, I mean, we need to create strong trade deals with our allies, and we need to start to counter the influence of China that is making huge investments in countries like in the entire continent of Africa, I should say, in Pacific Rim countries like South Korea, Australia. We need to strengthen our ties there because if we don't strengthen our ties, China will jump in, and that creates not only economic problems for our country, but also geopolitical problems and potentially national security problems for the United States.
Brandon Arnold with the National Taxpayers Union, thank you so much for shedding light on that really important study. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.